You're listening to The Brand Compass, conversations to navigate your way to building a brand fit for purpose and poised for success. Here's your host, Shelley, Rostlund.
Hello there, my friend, and we are back. Lovely to be here and spend the time with you today. If you're a regular, you know that this is the place where we discuss and unpick all the ways in which your brand meets the humans you serve. If you are new to the show, hello, I am Shelley and I am your host on this conversational journey. Gosh, today's subject is a very personal one for me. I really want you to pay close attention to what I'm going to share with you. It's a subject that I feel quite strongly about, and it concerns how you view yourself, the gifts you have, and how you're communicating with the outside world. Now, there are a few angles to this. So the way I'm going to tackle it is in this way. Firstly, what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of context as to what I mean by your gifts, or your genius, as I like to call it. Then I'm going to help give you maybe a couple of hints to find places where you can seek out these unique human points of difference, because let's face it, sometimes you are just too close to yourself to even see them or know them. The more you can be clear about why you are different to other professionals who do the same thing that you do, the more this will help you to stand out and know where you are and how you stand in comparison to your competitors. Once we've fleshed all of that out, I'll then talk about how knowing all of these things will actually impact how you actually communicate this to the outside world, and how by doing this you can actually start to be more you more of the time. Sound good? Great. Let's get started. What are your gifts? What is it about you that people love and give you gushing testimonials about? So while listening to what people are saying about you will give you a clue, what I'd like you to think about is viewing your genius in two parts. First part is your technical skills. So this is what makes you able to do the work that you're actually engaged to do, right? The second part to that is your proficiency, which is the very real contribution you bring to the table. And it tends to be something that others can quantify as valuable. Now, if you've listened to any of my other episodes, you will have already heard how I describe this margin that lies between your technical skill and your proficiency. And I call this your marketable value. Michael Hyatt has a really lovely quote, which I like to use in these instances. And he says, aptitude signals skill alone, while proficiency signals skill plus contribution. It's this marketable value area of valuable contribution that I want you to hone your investigation on into what your gifts are. So to me, this is what spotlights the difference in working with you and what you actually bring to the table. In other words, the results that you generate. This is definitely what makes you interesting when your ideal clients are comparing you to other professionals. Okay, so that's great, and that's a good indicator of your professional standing as a great subject matter expert and where your genius lies. However, what is it about you as the human behind the professional face of you that's super interesting? The answer to that question is what is going to power up your personal brand work. Now, when you hear that phrase, personal brand, I want you to think about it as a structured exercise to do some deep investigation into what makes you tick inside and also pulls out remarkable things that you've forgotten about that makes you shine on the outside. Most importantly, done right, Your personal brand exercise means that you will feel more comfortable in your skin, and being at work actually feels joyful because you get to be more of yourself more of the time. And what I mean by that is you don't have to pick a time of the day where you have to switch off the work you to become the home you. A crucial aspect to personal branding is positioning. How do you position yourself in the context of others who do what you do? And I guess it's the age-old boring question of how are you different? Why should I choose you over someone else? Now, before you rattle off your years of experience, your qualifications, your proven case studies, your track record of success, let me just stop you there. Those kinds of things fall into the bucket of your technical skill and your proficiency and even your marketable value. However, that's not really what ideal clients want to know or hear. Those facts and statements are, in their minds, a given. So honestly, that's not what is going to make you unique or remarkable in the eyes of your prospective clients. If you've been in business long enough, you know this to be true. Guess what? They are actually humans. They are looking for spots of light where they can resonate with you as a human and possibly see signs that you will understand them better because you have some kind of commonality in experience or character. Makes sense? If you think about it, it does make sense. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of places where you can look to see where you might pull out these human nuances that you have, but you can't quite see just yet as unique or interesting to other people. Now, as I list these spaces that you can look at, try and think of a point or two for each one for yourself if you can. And then maybe if you've got a bit of time later and you have a pen in your hand, maybe you can work a little bit harder on your list. All right, so I have 8 of these to share with you, and I'm sure there are many more, but I thought this is enough for one episode. I'm going to run through each one of them fairly high level with you. All right, so now think of yourself while I'm saying these things. Number 1, your origin story. Now, this is a list, remember, to try and find some unique nuances or differences to you as a human, okay? So number 1 is your origin story. Now, this could be a whole episode on its own, okay? But a really quick guide to this is potentially section your life up into the different chapters of your life. So you've got your childhood, your teenage years, young adults, and your current, your adult years. Then just ask yourself a couple of questions around anything that happened significantly, during those chapters of your life. What did you do? What did you get involved in? What things were notable? Was there anybody who influenced you? Anybody you admired? What do you carry forward with you to today that you still remember from those periods? Like, make your notes. They will actually surprise you. Second place to look is, how did you get to do the work that you're doing today? Not every one of us has a straight path in our career, actually. Most people have a wiggly start. Some people have a fairly straight start, but actually there's quite sometimes a wiggly path to things. Just jot down your path, perhaps in a mini timeline. What did you learn along the way? What kind of decisions did you make that kind of offshoot your career into different paths? Was there a lot of variety? Was there a couple of diversions? Note these down. Third thing to look at, your core values and your ethos. If you have done some work before on identifying your values and which ones prioritize your work and your personal life, what are they? And in terms of your ethos, I mean, what is your mindset around work, working with others, and your work ethic? Do you have some definitive things that you do not compromise on? Fourth thing to look at, the way in which you do things. Do you have a specific way in which you approach the work that you do? Have you found a particular way that works best and it's a little different to what other professionals would do in your field? Have you maybe borrowed learning from another industry and adapted it to work for you? That might be unique. Note it down. Fifth place to look, your relationship approach. So this kind of centers around how you actually work with people, your interpersonal skills, your manner, what motivates you, how do you relate or communicate best with people. Everybody's different. Write down what you think your approach is. Number 6, look at the milestones or journey points that you have already reached in your lifetime. So this is linked a little bit to the point of how did you get to do the work that you're doing today, okay? But what I'm thinking is if you focus on some specific mountains that you've had to climb or challenges you've had to overcome, there might be some very specific things during your lifetime, and this might actually add another extra element of character insight into you. It might be an actual mountain you had to climb, for example, like Everest. That was not me, just to put that down there. Right, the 7th place to look for some of your unique human nuances. Look at the things that are super easy for you. Okay, if you've done any kind of coaching or personal development work, you may well have done some strengths work. And if not, just think about the times in your day when time just flies and you do things that feel like they're super easy to you. They don't feel like work. These are actually indicators to your strengths and are clues to your superpowers. Things that are really easy to you are not necessarily easy to other people. Okay, the 8th and last space to have a look for some unique nuances. Why do you do the thing that you do? So as you can imagine, this is all about purpose, right? So because we are all different as humans, we will all have different personal reasons for jumping out of bed in the morning to do the thing that we do every day. This can be motivated by something that you find is an injustice in the world or in society, or there's a bigger world problem that needs solving, or even something more personal like creating a lifestyle at home that suits your family. Do some work on pulling out why you are doing the thing that you do. Phew, that was a long list, right? But it just shows you that you can find your uniqueness as the human doing the work that you do by looking at a myriad of things. This is the kind of work that you do as part of a personal brand strategy. It's pretty cool, right? I think so. The amount of times we have seen people just completely light up when they do this work, it's incredibly satisfying work for me and my team to do. So we've talked about where your genius or your gifts lie in your marketable value, and we've covered at least 8 areas you can look to spot your unique points of human difference. The last bit I want to cover before we say goodbye to each other is how this all impacts how you go out into the world. One big solution to not having the Sunday scaries or the Monday blues or praying for Fridays and holidays to come quicker is to do this personal branding work, because by doing it, you will pay homage to all the glorious genius parts to you, and you'll actually craft a version of you that you are happy to then show and share with the outside world. Your quirks, your characters, your views, and your approach to things is what people want to know about you. They don't want a list of services and features and benefits. They want to know if they can trust you and rely on you as the expert that is going to help them to solve whatever their problem, ache, or challenge is. Trust comes from sharing deeper and more meaningful parts to you than just your list of services. My challenge for you is to really take on board what I'm saying today, and I want you to share something that you are comfortable with that is just about you, the person. Do it in your next one-to-one or a social media post. See what happens. You may be surprised by the conversations that come up. I will just say that there will be parts to you that you do not want to share with everybody, and you want to keep it close and private, and that's absolutely normal. But do not hold back everything just for the sake of those few things that you want to keep close. I promise you, the more you do this, the more you'll find you don't have to have this hard line between work you and home you. And you may just find that you're able to be more you more of the time. That's it for today, my friends. Do let me know how that sits with you. I'm really loving getting the DMs while you're on trains, planes, and walking the dog to let me know what you think. Big shout out to 𝗧𝗛𝗓𝗧𝗦𝗛𝗟𝗟. It's a multi-award winning financial planner who listens while she cooks her dinners for her family. And also to Jen Bradburn, an SEO specialist who listened to the last episode on her way to a conference in London. It's really lovely to hear from you guys, and it helps me to feel like we are indeed a two-way dialogue, my friends. If you want to shout out, give me a DM. Find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. I am the only Shelley Rostlund out there. If you've enjoyed this episode, would you awfully mind doing a review for me on the app that you listen on? Every little bit helps to widen our audience and also bring more people into the conversation. Who do you know that could do with hearing about this subject I've talked about today? Share this episode. You know you want to. Until next time, stay strong, believe you have value, and make good brand decisions.
Thank you for listening to The Brand Compass. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with your entrepreneurial friends and help them make good brand decisions. Until next time, let's keep the conversation going at 𝗘𝗣𝗜𝗦𝗢𝗓.com.